watching Life Inspired with us. We are live on both Facebook and YouTube, and we have a very special guest today, Robert Brandt from Bethel University.
University now, yeah.
Right, Bethel University. Thanks for being our guest
You're
today.
welcome.
We really appreciate you coming.
Yeah, glad to be here.
So I can't wait to hear your story because I have absolutely no idea what we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
So
All right.
this will be great. So a little housekeeping first. We're
Yep.
just going to remind our viewers that what we're doing is talking about turning points for the most part. Life is going along. There's some kind of ... and then God moment in your life. So that's what we use for the dots. And then
Okay.
God. He did something. He
Yeah.
turned you. He made your feet in a new direction, whether you were walking with him in one way and he turned you to a different way, or whether it's before you even knew him. That story is fine too for a lot of people. And then how are you walking with him now? How are you staying inspired?
Yeah.
Which is cool. And then so want to thank everybody. In case I forget at the end, Daryl Buchanan's going to sing us out with We Have Jesus. So thanks, Daryl Buchanan, for letting us use your song. And so what was life like before your ... moment?
Yeah, a quick backstory. Well, currently, and then we'll go back just a
great.
little bit. I am married to my wife, Melody. We've been married 29 years.
7 children.
7 children, 28 down to 8.
Crazy.
And never a dull moment. And about 3 weeks ago, became a grandfather.
Oh,
So,
gosh, you told me that. I
G-Paw.
forgot.
Yeah. So
G-Paw.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at now, and you mentioned I teach at Bethel University. If God would have told me that all these years ago, I would have ran the other direction. So,
Really?
real quick backstory. I was raised...
Wait, why would you run the other way?
If God would have told me when I was, let's say, in college, that I'd be a professor, have a PhD, be investing and educating other students, I would. That was never on my radar.
Not your personality.
No.
Okay.
And really wasn't following Jesus back then.
Okay.
And even when I started to follow Jesus, had he told me that, I still would have said, oh, no.
Not me.
No, not me.
Interesting. Okay, so
Yeah.
now backstory. Now go to the
So a
back.
quick backstory. I was raised in what I call a semi-Christian home. My dad was a person of faith, but he had some weird theological beliefs. He was also an alcoholic.
Okay.
My mom was a woman of faith.
Okay.
I can't go into the whole backstory, but when my dad found out my mom was pregnant, she wanted him to have an abortion, and because he married her because she wasn't supposed to be able to have kids. He didn't want any more kids. He had been married before, had kids, and said, that's enough. And mom said, no, of course, and I'm here. So, hey, do you want eternal life? You know what this is. And God used the same psalm that he used with David, restore to me the joy of your salvation, grant me a willing spirit, and bottom line of that is, you're going to turn transgressors. Once you turn, you're going to help other people turn. And that was really a prophetic moment.
Wow.
That I didn't realize that.
Okay.
So that was a huge ...
Right,
because that's not anything that I wanted to be involved in. I was very content in what I was doing, and but God had other plans. And I was going to what was called Skyline Wesleyan Church, large church in San Diego. John Maxwell was a senior pastor there.
Oh, cool.
And so I got plugged into the college group, had kind of been going, but I would go surfing and then come in late and leave early because I didn't want to really meet with anyone. But then when God kind of got a hold of me, I got plugged in. And another kind of ... which was very interesting. I went on a mission trip for a week to Mexicali, Mexico. And our college group and career group was about 500 students. So, I mean, it's decent size. We take 50 people on a mission trip.
Yeah.
And so I went on a mission trip, and after that week, I came back different. Right. Not that, I'm so thankful for what I have, and, and that's great to be exposed to that. I knew that, but God was stirring something deeper in me. My perspective of how I saw the world was different. I didn't think about a kind of a worldly perspective. My desire was to be an engineer. I was studying at San Diego State. I wanted to build buildings. Wanted to make money. Wanted to have a 2-story house, 2.5 kids, 1.6 dogs and cats. Just part of a cat.
Right.
And then God just started wrestling, and that was in the spring of '86.
So you were how old at this time?
I was probably about 21, 22 there.
Still in college.
Yeah, '86. Yeah, I'd have been 20.
Okay.
Actually, and that summer, our college group does mission trips, and they were announcing mission trips to China, Africa, Europe, and then Mexico City. And I was sitting in our college ministry, and as soon as he said Mexico City, I felt a lightning bolt go through me. Literally, I felt like I just jumped out of my seat.
Wow.
And I looked to my right and looked to my left because I thought people had to see me move. I mean, I moved, I jumped.
Wow.
And nothing. But I just felt that. I thought, okay, I got to go to this trip. Long story short, it was a 2-mile, and got hives on the way down. I've never had hive in my life, ever. Didn't know it hit me.
Nerves?
I don't know what it was. I think it was probably a spiritual battle. I think there were some interesting things going to happen down there.
Oh, okay.
As I was working with people down there, God would bring me people to talk to. I'd meet people, or after we'd do a show. Many of them either came from alcoholic homes or had alcoholic backgrounds.
Wow.
So here is God restoring the joy of my salvation, and then me imparting that to others.
Wow.
And so it was kind of an interesting deal. Very difficult trip. I got sick. I won't go into all the details, but let's just say, got a stomach deal that lasted pretty much the whole, 75%
Is that
of the trip.
they don't drink the water stuff?
Yeah, but you
Worse.
when you're there, you can't say no to people in their homes.
Right,
you just
right.
have to do that.
Right.
So that was trying, and we finally had a day off, and our team was going to go to Chapultepec Park, which is a beautiful park in Mexico City, the zoo, and God just said, I want you to stay back. Well, staying back meant in an abandoned hospital in Mexico City. We had found a scorpion in a room. There were rats on the first floor. I mean, it's not, hey, let's go to the beach. It was just stay back. I had no idea what God was doing. I really wanted to go with my teams, our first day off in weeks. And he said, stay back. And I said, okay. You argue. You kind of go, God, what are you doing?
Well, when you say God told me, how did you hear him? Just thoughts that you just knew he was bothering you?
Yeah, I think the more you say yes, God doesn't have a big billboard up there. Hey, well, I guess there's some campaigns around the country. But
right.
Typically, I think the more you say yes, the more you know. Okay, this is God talking to me.
No,
I know.
Yeah.
For some reason, I can't do that. I need to stay here.
Got it.
And he doesn't tell you why.
Right.
I wish he did all the time.
Never tells you why.
Why? Well, if he told me why, I may not say yes.
Right.
So I stayed back and started reading the Sermon on the Mount.
Okay.
And got to chapter 6, verses 33 and 34. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. And again, the part of that is what the world worries about, what you eat, what you drink, what you wear, and that's really what I was focused on. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be an engineer, build buildings, make money, get married, have kids. I mean, the American dream. And then God said, no, I want you to seek my kingdom first. And so again, as that scripture says, seek his kingdom first. Therefore, don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will worry about itself.
Right.
And so that I have that written in one of my old Bibles. That was July 23rd, 1987. His salvation was a works-oriented deal. Hey, I can be good enough, and God goes, thumbs up. And so I had some skewed theology. I had some bad theology that needed to be guided toward good theology. Mm-hmm. And my mentor, Tim Elmore, we're going through one of the sections where it talks about Christ. And some of my answers about Jesus were a little bit off. And I loved the Lord, and I was following him. But who he was
So you
was
still
different.
just thought he was a good man?
And teacher, and didn't really realize he was divine. And so he said, let's just slow down here. So I started digging into the Gospel of John and the claims that Christ made and who he said he was, and who others interpreted his claims to be. That, man, you're claiming to be God. And it was probably that was one of the best ... I wouldn't say moments, but seasons where I really wrestled and came to terms, okay, who do I believe Jesus is?
Right. Who do you say that I am?
Yeah. And so I was following him, but I'd gotten him wrong.
So my dad he went to seminary and he made posters and stuff like that. He used to say, Jesus is either a liar, a lunatic, or Lord.
Yeah.
Because he claimed, if you read the Bible, he claimed to be God. He didn't claim to be a good man. He claimed to be God. So if he claimed to be God, he's lying and he's not God.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like a liar. Yeah. He's a crazy man and he's not God because he really thinks he is. Mm-hmm. He didn't seem to be crazy. Nope. So maybe he's Lord. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, keep going.
So that was a really neat theological moment in the sense of, okay, now I really know who I'm following, and I own this, not because what my mom believed or anything else, or what my mentor believed or pastor. It's, no, I have this. Mm-hmm. And so I continued to grow in my leadership and became a small group leader, then a leader of small groups, an intern in the college and career, which I oversaw 9 people, and we ran the ministry of 300 students. And I was just a young college kid. Graduated, thought I would be a college pastor, and ended up going into youth ministry.
No kidding.
I didn't like students necessarily. I wanted to work with college students, and God had other plans. And I was good at it. And that's not an arrogant statement. The Lord just blessed it. I love students. And
Wait. You just said you didn't like students, and then you loved students.
Well, my passion is for people. I mean, I love to see Jesus intersect with their lives and then get a kingdom perspective. I want to see world changers raised up.
Right.
So when God said, hey, I want you to work with students, okay, that's fine, I'll do that. And so I did the same thing. I loved them, showed them Jesus. Kids got saved, called them to ministry, and it was a fun deal. Cool. And I wouldn't do it.
Right.
But that kind of changed in grad school, and you move on, and God said, I want you to do more. Well, when my dad was still alive, and again, we've had a good relationship over the years he was alive, worked through some issues, and I think he eventually came to the cross. But he said, I'll pay for it. Well, that's a huge deal, because their PhDs are expensive.
Right.
So how can you say no? So God's kind of gone, hey, move.
Hey, you, go this way.
So I did the research and decided, okay, there's a school, Bethel University. Mm-hmm. It's Talbot School of Theology out in California. Okay. That's where I want you to go. So that meant another move. So we moved to San Clemente, California, got plugged into a big church there. And in 4 years, I only completed 1 doctoral course, because our ministry grew, my family grew.
Wow.
We had 3 kids when we moved there. We had 5. We had 2 more. And I wasn't going to sacrifice family. And then God began to stir my heart and says, you're being disobedient. I told you I wanted you to do a PhD. I'm leading you this way because I want you to teach the academy. I want you to invest in young men and women going into ministry. And yes, you've spent 4 years here. Yes, it's been successful, but you've only done 1 doctoral class. You're being disobedient. I want you to teach the ground level.
Sorry, God.
Yeah, and so for a year and a half, up until towards the end of the 4 years, journaling. I mean, I could say, God, there are people smarter than I am. There are people more experienced.
Okay, Moses, just give me all the excuses.
Yeah, exactly. Better than I am. I mean, don't you see this? I mean, there are people, we have a large ministry here, but there's some that have, wait, what are you doing, God? And again,
you're being disobedient.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, Robert.
And it isn't in this way. And what I've learned about the Lord, it's not he doesn't work in criticism, judgment, condemnation.
Right.
It's more of, you're being disobedient. I love you, but I have something better for you. So will you trust me? Will you really trust me? And I think a lot of people don't realize that about the Lord. It's more of this, I have to please him, or he's mad at me or angry. And that's not what was, even in this moment where I'm being disobedient and not listening.
Stop playing in the mud puddle. I got the beach over here for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's always in love. It's always in grace. It's
for
always
sure.
in him leading to better pastures. And so after a year and a half, I said, okay, God, you win. Now, the person that they made the offer to, after they made the offer to the person, that's when they got my resume and all the stuff and had a phone interview with me. And they said, oh my gosh, this is the guy we want. But we can't rescind this offer. That's not ethical to do that. And the other person turned it down.
Wow.
And so the rest is history. We interviewed and really felt God calling us to be here. I told God I would never live in the Midwest. I had driven through it several times.
And how old was Jonathan when you moved here? He's told me this before.
Let's see. We moved here in 2004. So he would have been, 99 years old.
Yeah, I thought he was little.
So it was a big transition. But that ... to move halfway across the country,
California
to really trust God, to say, hey, I'm going to quit and resign even though I don't know what you're doing and don't know how we're going to provide. Little did I know what would happen on the other side.
Right.
The cool thing is that if you remember, I told you I really had a passion for college students.
Right.
So I spent 15 years working in youth ministry and also associate pastor. And now I'm working with college students.
Wow.
So I'm investing in them. And,
For
had I said no,
years
I've been here
now.
15 years. And I spent 2 years in admin, paid my dues, and I can do it, but I love students.
Yeah.
I love investing in them. And so that's the joy. Little did I know God would take me through all these years of youth ministry with all the experience, plop me here to be able to multiply world changers and laborers for his kingdom.
So cool.
So back here, had I not, like I said, if God would have told me all these years, hey, you're going to do this, I would have said no.
Not interested.
Yeah. And little did I know this is...
And little did you know how much you would love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so we've enjoyed raising our family here. It's been great for us. I'm still a California kid at heart. Still love the beach, still love surfing. But it's not about the place. Right. It's about what you're doing. And when you're doing that, there's a contentment and joy.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
So how do you stay inspired every day? How do you stay where you can always keep hearing so that you can keep saying yes, so that you can keep hearing more, so that you can keep saying yes and enjoy and have the joy of the Lord? What do you do? What's your daily, how do you stay connected?
Yeah, and this is what I teach my students. And we need to be continually keep on being filled with the Spirit. You have to. And one way to see a beautiful neighborhood, I actually have a white house. It's not a picket fence. I have 7 kids. So God has given me all that. And so I see kids that have more faith than their parents do. Some of them sense a call into ministry, but their parents are kind of pushing them a different direction. And they're saying, no, I just want to trust God, with full abandon and not being stupid, but following and trusting.
Right.
So that I just keep encouraging. Pray for your parents. They're on a faith development journey as well as you are. And maybe this is part of their journey too. So if God's calling you, don't say no.
Right.
Don't settle for something else. So I see that as a challenge, particularly in our day and our economy where we're at. That
Very
kids wrestle
cool.
with that.
Right. Very cool. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate you being here.
It's fun.
So you guys, thank y'all so much for watching. I'm not really sure I don't see my little orange light, so I don't know which camera I'm on, but thanks so much for watching. And we're just really grateful for Robert's story. If you know somebody else that needs to sit on the red couch and tell why and how they're following Christ too, we would love to hear that story. And if you want to get in touch with Robert, if you're interested in youth ministry and you want to talk to him about that, or you just want to talk to him about, hey, I came from a family with an alcoholic, I know that he would have coffee with you. So message us
Definitely
here.
Coffee.
And yeah, definitely coffee. So just message us. There's messages below, whether we're on YouTube or Facebook. Either one, there's a place where you can comment and we'll get you in touch with Robert. Or if not, go to our inspiredhomes.com and you can message through the Inspired Homes website and we'll get you in touch with Robert. So thanks for watching. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.
Yes, we have.